Ladies and gentlemen, can't believe that I'm making this video for all of you. I'm still a little bit speechless because what happened in this video happened just a couple of hours ago at the time of recording. It's the 1st of October, and I just defeated one of the best chess players in the world, a person who I don't think I've ever played against. And if I did, I definitely lost to him. Yes, I played him once and I lost. This was our second ever game. And that player is Ian Nepomniachtchi. One of the best players in the world over the last half a decade. Multiple-time challenger for the World Championship. Has had 2 candidates wins and 1 very close. That's all I have for you, and I'm going to show you this game. I'm absolutely speechless. So, also a great interview. Recently has caught a little bit of flack for some of the things he says on social media, but who doesn't? And, well, what more can I say? I have a lot of respect for Jan as a chess player. He was also streaming the game in the Russian language. Now, for those of you that don't know, I play with sometimes use a Chrome extension where I can hide. It basically lets me edit the code of the page, and I hide who I'm playing, and it helps with my nerves. Obviously, I can't do this in classical over-the-board chess, but sometimes it's fun to do in blitz chess because it lets me fight against my opponents to the best of my ability. So I did know that I was playing somebody good. The reason I knew that is because I had 2 points out of 2, and generally the way it works is I beat 2 lower-rated players, and then I'm playing against a good player. So my opponent went e4, and this is the second major plot twist of this video. Those of you that have followed me for a long time know that I am a beloved expert and practitioner of the Caro-Kann defense, but recently I have lost several games in tournaments, not because of the opening, but because I'm an idiot. And I've also recently been playing a lot of Scandinavian, which I find to be fantastic. But the problem is the Scandinavian does give white a slight advantage at the highest level. So I have been doing what any normal person should do and learn and expand their openings, and I've been studying some Sicilian defense. I have never, if you look back at my chess.com history and my over-the-board history, I haven't played a Sicilian defense in classical chess in over 10 years. Online, I've played it against like my level of opponents less than 10 or 20 times. I've played against subscribers, but not against top-level players. My opponent went knight f3, I played knight c6, and now the major question is, will Nepo play, or will anybody play the open Sicilian or the Rossolimo? The major drawback of knight c6 is that nowadays the Rossolimo is very, very good, considered to be probably even slightly better than playing the open Sicilian. So I had something ready, just something I've been looking at briefly, and obviously it's blitz, so, But you know what I haven't studied at all? The Rossolimo. At all. Because I'm just learning this opening for the first time. And, this game is almost the motto of this game is almost, you don't fear what you don't know. So, there's a lot of ways to play against the Rossolimo. The main line is g6. I'm playing e6. So, I took a look at e6. The idea is that obviously if my opponent takes, he damages my pawns, but I'm going to try to play for a quick d5. And if he doesn't take, what I'm going to try to do is sabotage my own development for a moment and play knight to e7. And now this move makes no sense because he never damaged my structure. He just gave me the light-squared bishop. So white now basically tries to poke at black's position while black needs to spend a little bit more time developing. Now, I actually played this setup 3 times in Title Tuesday today, and every time someone played something different. Somebody played c3, somebody played rook e1, and Jan played d4. Now, again, my knowledge of this opening ends around right here. It's just straight up like, I don't know it yet. I mean, I know very vaguely, but I don't know the theory. So when he went d4 and I traded, I was like, I'm in danger. Like, I straight up don't know what I'm doing. What you shouldn't do is you shouldn't trade and obviously help your opponent. And I had a feeling the best move here is knight g6, and afterward I did check the database. Knight g6 is one of the moves. I also considered a6, but I thought for a little while here, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go g6. I know it's not the best move, but I don't know why. So it's not the best move because here he's going to take on c6, and I thought, well, that doesn't make any sense, right? And now he's going to try to take advantage of my dark squares. I mean, I thought I'd just go bishop g7, but he gets into the dark squares here pretty quickly. So he should have taken on c6, Probably he didn't like it because, you know, I can take like this, but now he throws in queen d4. So now I don't successfully play knight c6. Of course, in classical chess, g6 wouldn't have happened, and he would have also found the best move. But he retreated, and, you know, he's trying to set up the Maroczy structure with c4. The problem with this setup, though, is that I played e6. You know, in the Dragon Sicilian, you can play the structure, and black doesn't quickly play d5. Now, I wanted to play bishop g7 here. I didn't play bishop g7 because I thought this was his idea. The engine here just gives d5 and black is better. But again, I thought about this, but I was like, but he's gonna play bishop f4, and it's like, yeah, but b2 is, I mean, it's still equal, but... So I was like, okay, a6. Now he cannot play knight to b5, he can't play anything. I'm gonna go bishop g7, and I'm gonna castle, and I'm gonna play in the center with d5. This was my plan. Okay, obviously I'm worse, but like, my excuse is not knowing the opening, so forgive me. And he went c4, I went bishop g7. And he really surprised me here. So obviously my next move is d5. Now I expected bishop e3, at which point I was either going to castle and play d5 or just play d5 straight away. And I thought, I'm not really worse. cd. First of all, if he trades everything, I hit the bishop and I hit the knight. And I mean, this just looks nice for me. It's not, because he can play knight c6, bc6, bishop c5, sacrificing the rook in the corner. And then he's still winning because my rook is under attack and my king is open. That's not really easy to find with, you know, in a blitz game. But he actually breaks a rule here, which my coach has told me, you know, a lot of the times not to break. Do not move a centralized piece out of the center. Because even though he's getting his knight out of the way of my pieces, I still play d5. He wanted me to castle, at which point he would play knight c3, but I go d5, he trades, and now he plays knight c3. And actually already I can even take the pawn, allow him to take my queen, and then in this position play probably something like bishop e6, and the position is equal. I'm not really that kind of guy though, and if you let me have a passed pawn, I'm gonna push it. And now I was like, wait a minute, I mean, I thought I equalized. So during the game, I thought in this position after castling, I did my job. My pawn is defended by 3 different pieces, maybe even soon 4 when I get my knight to f5. I've got the queen coming out over here, I've got the active bishop ready to go. I thought, look, the worst is over. I mean, I knew that the worst was when I played g6. I had a feeling, you know what, I'm not playing the opening correctly. Maybe he has a way to exploit it. He did, but by the time I made a couple of consolidating moves, I thought, you know what, I don't know who I'm playing against, but I don't think they're going to have as big of an advantage as they could have. So castles, bishop f4, and now, you know, now we have to play chess. I thought for a bit here. I didn't choose the best move. The best move here is to play h6, which is which you know makes sense when I tell you that it's the best move. But the point is that I locked down g5, and it's not even that I locked down g5. I actually want to play g5. I want to go here, and then here I want to go f5. That's the point. You want to get as aggressive as possible with your kingside pawns. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Didn't really want to do that, so I attacked the knight with my bishop, and I thought this move made sense because my bishop is defended. So even if knight g3, I don't... Well, actually, if knight g3, I have d3, I guess, which just wins. Why does it win? Knight f5. I thought knight e... Oh, my queen takes. And then the pawn is protected. That's brutal. Yeah, didn't see that. But, you know, I played bishop f5. I thought he would play, like, some move, and he did. And I didn't think this was that bad for me because I thought my bishop is defended. After knight f5, I'm fine. I mean, it's not fully fine. He'll play bishop d3. He's threatening to open up my king, right, and damage my pawns. But I guess he's losing a pawn here, so it's not easy to play that move. So I play queen b6, and I thought I was going after the pawn on b2. I thought my position was pretty reasonable. My rook is coming here. But yeah, it was not a good idea to let the knight go to d6. I shouldn't have done that. I should have played h6, g5. He went queen b3. Right away, I was thinking... Okay, that stops my plan, and the idea is that after we trade, my pawn on b7 is simply hanging. However, after queen b3 and a b3, I can move my bishop out of the way, and I can support my d-pawn, which is a passed pawn. So I went bishop c2. I really liked this move. I thought it was very smart to attack the pawn on b3, and also threaten d3. Thought this was a smart move. The computer wants me to just play d3, and after bishop d1, it wants me to take this pawn. Now, that obviously makes sense. However, after d3, I thought he could take my knight. My bishop defends my pawn. de, knight e7, and rook e1. And I saw something along these lines could happen, but okay, it's just equal. I mean, didn't know, right? So bishop c2 is what I played. It's not the best move, but he also doesn't play the best move, and that allows me to play d3. Now my bishop is protected, and this pawn is under attack. But I was relying on counterplay here, which I realized doesn't work. After knight b7, which is the move that he played, I was hoping I would have counterplay on the b file, but actually the bishop now sees the b8 square, so I can't play that. Rook b8 just simply gives away a rook. It's actually not horrible, but it's bad to give away a rook. So I was like, okay, I'm down a pawn, and I can't really get my pawn back, because then he plays rook a2, and he simply wins my bishop, and he's just up a pawn. So this is getting to the critical moment of the game. I actually play the best move here, which is just activating my knight, looking to go forward, covering the d6 square, and he plays knight a5, which is also the best move. Now, here I misevaluate. Here I go for a forced sequence of moves, which I saw, but it's just bad. What I should do here is I should just breathe. I should let this sit, and I should focus on my pawn. So I should go forward this way. This knight is out of the game. It's not participating. Play knight d4. I've got knight e2 ideas. Right now, I'm also threatening bishop d1, followed by knight e2 check. After knight d4, the best move for white is something like king h1. And then I take over the file, and I gotta tell you, this is a fantastic position for black. If anybody's winning the game, it's black because of that pawn. The best moves now for white are a bit obscure. Like if he starts pushing, I get my knight in. Again, the second he takes, he just loses because he's gonna lose all these pawns, and I'm gonna anchor in the pawn, and it's just game over. It's not even the best move, but it's one of the best moves. So this kind of escaped my mind. Instead, you know, the pressure of the blitz game, the pressure knowing you're playing a good opponent, I'm like, I'm gonna take rook a2, knight a5. I'm gonna take rook a2, knight a5. Now what's funny is he can actually go here. So I just straight up blundered. That after here, he's threatening my bishop, which is game over. So again, I should have just paused, been like, does he have a threat? No, let's go toward the middle. That's what I should have done. Instead, I went here, and you know he responded very quickly to me, which is rook a2, which is the move. I thought it was the only move. And so now I was like, now I take his knight. Obviously, if he takes, the rook now got, you know, time wasted. And on rook b2, I'm gonna go rook e8. And so my idea here is that after bishop takes, if takes, and rook c2, I can take on b3. This was what I was planning. So I played rook e8, and I thought, I don't know what's going on, but I'm fighting. The best move here for white is to take, and then before you take, you kick out my knight. Didn't see that. Like, didn't see the subtle move. Now I'm just down a pawn. And okay, I mean, I can fight with moves like rook b8, etc. But if the longer the game goes on and the more he is able to consolidate, even though I have an active piece, he's completely fine. Bishop e3 is next, h3, king, you know, no back rank stuff, and he's very close to consolidating. Now, the move he plays also scared me, which is g4. And I thought, oh, I'm just losing. I mean, he's kicking me out of the position. I'm looking at knight moves. I can't go here. I can't go here. I can't go here. Here, I also calculated bishop d1, rook e2, which is a cool move. I'm attacking the rook, and then if he takes me, I have this. But, I mean, I thought, like, even rook b1 is totally fine. And, yeah, the only move now that doesn't lose for black is the move that saves the day. So g4, I'm like, oh, that's it. I'm cooked. And then here, I found one of the most clutch moves I've ever played. Everything else is just bad. It turns out that, you know, you gotta do what you preach, right? Practice what you preach. You don't need to acknowledge danger if you can create danger of an equal or exceeding value. g4 is a mistake. He should have went back to d2. He plays g4, and I found here after 15 seconds of thought, rook e4. And now I got really nervous because I was like, oh my God, I think I'm cooking. The bishop is hanging. He can't move the bishop because then I take with check. This is still probably the best move because it kicks out my knight. So he takes on f5, which is not the best move, right? And generally, when you get hit with a move like rook e4, you're going to make a mistake with white. It's very difficult to restabilize your brain. So he goes here, rook f4. He takes my bishop. I take on c2. He goes knight d2. And the best move here for me is to anticipate this and play rook e2. Now, what's funny is I saw rook e2. Rook e8 with this idea. But I was like, but then he's going to take. And then, well, actually, black just wins. Like, he could take as many pawns as he wants. But he's dominated here. You know, that's a little tough. I just took the free pawn. I really, rook e8, rook e2, I have considered. but I couldn't bring myself to play something so absurd. I also thought about checking the king to the side of the board first. Don't know if that's a good move. So I went here, he went here, and now, 18 seconds to 49, you're playing a really good player. You have a history and a track record of panicking in such positions, shuffling your pieces around, letting a better player outplay you. I got to make moves. I bring the knight back from the edge of the board. He plays rook c3. I centralize the knight. He goes king g2. Now I don't have any checks. I went rook e8. He played a really good practical move here, which is rook e3. And the point is that if I just, if I'm like, oh, I'm trading all the pieces, I think this is a bad endgame for black. He has a passed pawn. Even though the pawns are equal, his king is closer to the center. I don't know. I don't know. This is one of those endgames that's very easy to lose against the good player. So I'm like, okay, we're not going to trade the rooks, but that's not a good move. I mean, you got to play rook b8. You got to keep the rook active. What you don't want to do is you don't want to pin yourself. But when you have 9 seconds on the clock, it's very easy to do exactly that. Now I'm panicking, right? Now I'm playing knight e6. I have 4 seconds. This is exactly the type of game that historically I am supposed to lose. It's not that I'm ready to lose. I'm going to fight, but I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? I literally just said I can't get here. Rook d3, knight c6, rook d6, and I can't protect my pawn. If I play knight b4, he's going to attack me. That's what I thought, so I went this way. He picks up my pawn. The game is over. 29 seconds to 3, 2 passed pawns. At this point with black, you start panicking, start pushing some pawns, he pushes, and he just wins. I play the best move, though, rook f4. It's an important move now for him, because where does he move his knight? Of course, I didn't know that during the game. I was just playing quickly. He went here to re-centralize his knight, and all of a sudden, it's not easy for him to defend himself. Probably he needs to play rook a2, try to stabilize, but I'm going to keep hunting these pawns. But he goes here, and a couple moves later, I keep creating threats, and he gives me the h2 pawn. Now, he's still winning. He's still winning because ultimately the passed pawns are rolling. I got to make moves or I'm going to lose on time. And here, he's got to go, right? Like, he's got to move the pawns because at some point, he's going to make me play defense. But he plays knight e3. And that move actually blunders rook f2. I wasn't expecting knight e3. I was expecting to keep running back to the pawns, so I very quickly played this. He blundered, the f2 pawn, but okay, I'm trying to come. Now he's got to play c5, but he pushes the other pawn, which also kind of makes sense. I play knight e4, though, and now I'm forking, and I'm like, wait a minute, f5, and I'm threatening rook f2, and I thought he was going to play f3 here, and then this, and then I win the... That's what I saw. When I played f5, I saw f3, knight g3, he comes to protect, and I play rook f3, and he played that. The best move here for white that wins the game is the backwards move knight d1. Not sure you can find that with 10 seconds on the clock. He goes here, playing directly into this. Now I'm like, wait a minute. He doesn't have time to push his pawns anymore because I'm threatening f4, rook e3. He's just going to lose the knight. At this point, obviously, it's like a mad dash to end this game, but I'm like, am I even losing anymore? He goes here. I run the king to the outside because I didn't really want to run to the center because I thought I would lose my pawn. I went here, not the best move, but I'm threatening f4, just winning the game. He has to unpin himself, so he does. I give him a check, because what else are you going to do with 4 seconds on the clock? He goes here. Okay, centralize my knight with a check. Suddenly, if he walks to this file, I win his rook. So he has to go here. But if he goes there, suddenly here. At this point, if you're playing with white, you're thinking you're losing. You just think you're losing, because what's happening, right? You're down a pawn, you're getting pinned, rook d3 only move. Now, if I rush with f4, knight g4 check. It's actually not losing, because, well, actually, there I even have knight d2. But it's chaos, so before I play f4, I play king g5. So I saw this, now I'm like, wait a minute, I've got f4 in the way. He goes here, it's a losing move, because now I play f4. Now I play f4. I didn't play f4 in the last move, but now I play f4. He's losing the knight. And the crazy thing is, if he just runs this pawn, I play rook e3, takes, and I'm just in time. Not to mention, obviously, this is winning for black, but like, I'm just in time. When I played f4, I was like, I'm gonna win. This is nuts. Now, the only thing I have to do is not panic completely. Rook e3. He can't trade with me. He plays rook d5, I come back. He plays rook d7. I'm like, what about my pawn? I'm queening the pawn. Now he realizes, wait a minute, he's queening the pawn. So I gotta play rook d8, rook f8, but I just come back to e7. Rook d1, f2, I'm just winning the game. He's not enough, he's not in time, and I have rook c3, and I have knight d2 and f1, and I have rook e1. So my king is in the square, I'm playing F1, and his time ran out here. He had 2 seconds, but it's basically the equivalent of a resignation. And I beat Ian freaking Nepomniachtchi. Like, this is insane. This is the first ever Sicilian defense I have played. Like, a serious Sicilian defense in a real tournament. I didn't even know the opening. I was in a worse position in 6 moves. But this opening is so resilient that, 1 or 2 inaccurate moves, it's still a fight. It's still an interesting game. I'm gonna like frame this game. This is like unbelievable. Of course, I had no idea who I was playing. So I will upload the clip like as a YouTube short separately of me, reacting. I don't know what Nepo's world ranking is now, but it doesn't matter. He's like number 7 in the world, maybe. He was number 3, maybe number 2. He played for the world championship. He's one of the few players who's a top 10 player in classical rapid and blitz. Guys like Hikaru, you got guys like Magnus. Fabiano's up there, but he does go down sometimes in rapid and blitz. And I mean, yeah, Nepo, a couple of years ago, to me, was a very clear top 5 player in the world across all formats. Like, he was like top 5 chess player in the world, period. So this is a crazy win. It's the highest rated win I've ever gotten. I think chess.com credits you with the post instead of the pre for some reason, but he was 3178 when I managed to beat him. Hans Niemann was 3120 when I beat him. So yeah, I'm just stunned. And I'm gonna keep learning the Sicilian defense because clearly it is a combative, interesting opening, and there is literally no greater way to start. All right, so that's all I have for you. We keep adding to the collection. We've beaten Hikaru, we've beaten Fabiano Caruana, we've beaten Alireza Firouzja, Hans Niemann, Ian Nepomniachtchi. List goes on and on. I'm very happy. I'm gonna go celebrate by walking the dog. That's all I have. Yeah, you know the drill. You can check out Chessly. Got courses on there. Gonna have to make a Sicilian course now. And yeah. Happy win. Get out of here.